Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Forehand Frenzy, where we bring you the latest and greatest in the world of tennis. Today, we're diving deep into the mind of one of the most enigmatic and fascinating players in the game. He's been called a rebel, a bad boy, and a genius. But no matter what you call him, there's no denying that Nick Kyrgios is one of the most exciting and unpredictable players to watch. Get ready to uncover the secrets behind his talent, his behavior, and his unique approach to the game. This is Nick Kyrgios, a deep dive into the mind of a tennis maverick. Nick Kyrgios is one of the most enigmatic and controversial tennis players of our time, with his flamboyant playing style and unpredictable behavior on and off the court. Nick's persona has captured the attention of tennis fans all over the world, but what is it that makes him tick? What drives him to play the way he does? And why does he sometimes seem to sabotage his own success? To understand Nick Kyrgios, we need to start at the beginning. Born in Canberra, Australia in 1995, Nick showed a natural talent for tennis from a young age, and he quickly became one of Australia's most promising young players. But as he grew older, Nick began to struggle with the pressure and expectations that came with being a professional athlete. Nick has always been very open about his struggles with anxiety and mental health. In interviews, he's talked about how difficult it can be to play in front of thousands of people, and how the pressure to perform can sometimes feel overwhelming. Growing up, Nick's mother, Nil, was diagnosed with cancer. Her battle with the disease was long and painful, and Nick watched helplessly as she struggled to overcome it. She eventually did, but the experience left a profound impact on Nick. Despite these challenges, Nick has managed to achieve a great deal of success on the court. He's won 6 ATP titles, including 2 ATP 500 events, and he's been ranked as high as the number 13 in the world. But Nick's success has often been overshadowed by his controversial behavior. He's been fined and suspended multiple times for violations of the ATP Code of Conduct, including verbal abuse, unsportsmanlike conduct, and tanking. So why does Nick behave the way he does? Some people see him as a bad boy, a rebel who doesn't play by the rules. But others see him as a passionate and emotional player who wears his heart on his sleeve. Nick Kyrgios is a force to be reckoned with on the tennis court, but his relationships with other players off the court are just as fascinating. From heated feuds to unexpected friendships, Kyrgios has made headlines for his interactions with his fellow tennis players. Perhaps the most well-known of these relationships are Kyrgios's feuds with Rafael Nadal, Novak Djokovic, and Stan Wawrinka. These conflicts have played out both on and off the court, with Kyrgios making controversial comments about his opponents in interviews and on social media. At times, it seems as though Kyrgios is more interested in getting under his opponent's skin than in actually winning the match. However, Kyrgios's relationships with other players aren't all negative. He has formed close friendships with players like Andy Murray and John Millman, both on and off the court. These relationships have been marked by mutual respect and support, with Kyrgios cheering on his friends from the sidelines and offering them words of encouragement when they face tough losses. What is perhaps most interesting about Kyrgios's relationships with other players is the way that they reflect his personality on the court. His feuds with Nadal, Djokovic, and Wawrinka are characterized by a brash, aggressive style that is matched only by his flamboyant play on the court. In contrast, his friendships with Murray and Millman reflect a more supportive, empathetic side of Kyrgios, one that is often overshadowed by his controversial behavior. One thing is clear: Nick is a complex and multifaceted individual, and his behavior can be difficult to predict, but there are some clues to understanding what drives him. For one thing, Nick has always been very vocal about his love for the game of tennis. He's talked about how much he enjoys playing and competing, and how much he values the opportunity to travel the world and meet new people. But at the same time, Nick has also been very critical of the tennis establishment. He's spoken out against what he sees as the rigidity of the sport, and he's called for more innovation and creativity in the way tournaments are organized and played. It's this combination of passion and frustration that seems to drive Nick's behavior both on and off the court. He wants to play the game he loves, but he also wants to do it on his own terms, and when he feels like those terms are being violated, he's not afraid to speak out or act out. Of course, this kind of behavior can be divisive. Some people love Nick for his rebellious spirit and his willingness to speak his mind, but others see him as disrespectful and unprofessional. So, where does Nick go from here? It's clear that he has the talent to be one of the greatest players of his generation, but it's also clear that his behavior can sometimes get in the way of his success. Nick is never boring. Whether he's throwing down a spectacular trick shot, engaging in a heated argument with an umpire, or simply enjoying a good game of tennis, he always keeps us on our toes. Some people see Nick's behavior as indicative of an arrogant, spoiled athlete who doesn't appreciate the opportunities he's been given. However, this seems far from the truth. In fact, his antics seem to have a more profound origin. Nick's unpredictable behavior doesn't end with his on-court antics. He has made headlines for his off-court controversies as well. In 2015, he was accused of making derogatory remarks about fellow Australian player Thanasi Kokkinakis during a match. He later apologized for the comments, but the incident left a stain on his reputation. In 2019, Nick was fined and suspended from the ATP Tour for several months after a series of outbursts during the Cincinnati Masters tournament. He smashed several rackets, insulted the umpire, and was caught on camera saying that the ATP was corrupt. Despite these controversies, Nick has many fans who love him for his unorthodox style of play and his willingness to speak his mind. He has a huge social media following and is known for his entertaining and candid interviews. He has also used his platform to raise awareness for important social issues, such as the devastating bushfires that ravaged his native Australia in 2019 to 2020. So what does the future hold for Nick Kyrgios? It's hard to say. He's still only 27 years old and has many years of tennis ahead of him if he chooses to continue playing. But whether he continues to be a controversial figure or starts to tone down his behavior, he will always be remembered as one of the most talented and exciting players of his generation. One thing is for sure, Nick Kyrgios is a force to be reckoned with. He has the talent, the passion, and the drive to be one of the best tennis players in the world, and his unpredictable behavior only adds to his allure. Fans and critics alike will continue to watch him closely, waiting to see what he does next. In conclusion, Nick Kyrgios is a complex and controversial figure in the world of tennis. His unpredictable behavior on and off the court has made him a polarizing figure among fans and critics alike. But whether you love him or hate him, you can't deny that he's one of the most talented and exciting players in the game today. From his natural talent on the court to his outspoken personality off the court, Nick Kyrgios is a player like no other. He continues to capture the attention of tennis fans all over the world with his exciting play and controversial behavior. Whether he chooses to continue to push the boundaries of the sport or decides to work within the system, one thing is for sure: he will always be one of the most fascinating players to watch. That's a wrap for today's episode of Forehand Frenzy, where we delved into the fascinating world of Nick Kyrgios. We hope you enjoyed learning about the complex and enigmatic personality of one of the most talented tennis players of our time. If you liked this video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more exciting content on all things tennis. Also, don't forget to leave your thoughts and comments below. Until next time, keep practicing your forehand, and we'll see you on the court.